The Invisible Man is directed by Leigh Whannell and stars Elizabeth Moss as the main character. And I wouldn't necessarily call this film a remake of the original 1932 version. I would actually call this a readaptation of the original book and the original movie, because I haven't read the book or seen the original movie, but I can already tell you this movie is nothing like those two. The film is about a girl named Cecilia, played by Elizabeth Moss, who is escaping one night from her abusive boyfriend, only to find out that one day he has committed suicide, but then later finds out that things are not what they seem to be afterwards, and that he has found a way to make himself invisible, hence making him the Invisible Man. Now, like I said, I haven't read the original book by H.G. Wells, and I haven't seen the original 1933 movie or any of its sequels or any of its adaptations that have happened over the years. So I'm really going into this movie with fresh eyes, not having any source material to compare it to, just kind of looking at this as just a standalone movie on its own merits. And when they announced it, I kind of thought an Invisible Man movie could work. You know, even though I haven't seen the original movie, I still think that a modern version of it could be pretty cool to see. And then the trailer hit, and hey, yeah, I did not like a single trailer that has come out for this movie, nor did any of the TV spots impress me. And my expectations and hopes for this movie went from here to almost ground level when the trailers came out. It basically, to me at least, looked like they took a familiar name, The Invisible Man, and just turned it into a generic slasher movie just to get people to go see it. And I do know the original film is not a slasher movie, so seeing the TV spots and trailers, I kept judging it because it just looked bad to me. Well, guys, I'm here to tell you that I really need to stop over-analyzing trailers, because this movie was damn good. I loved this movie. This is easily, so far at least, I haven't seen many movies yet this year, this is by far the first biggest surprise of 2020 for me. Take everything I said that I thought this movie was going to be, generic slasher, yada yada, and just throw it out the window, because this movie is not a slasher movie, thankfully. I wouldn't even call this really horror too much. This is more like a psychological sci-fi thriller almost. A psychological thriller that, if it had been done differently, it could have come off as really cheesy, really bad, and really over the top, but it's not any of that. This movie is very clever, very smart, well acted, well filmed, well directed, and it's scary. Like, that's probably the biggest praise I could say about this movie, is that it actually scared me. I kept thinking about it when the movie was over, and even scary parts in the movie that I knew were coming because I did see the trailers, it still got to me pretty badly because of how effective it worked. And a big portion of why it's so scary for me is mainly the performances in this movie, particularly Elizabeth Moss. She is fantastic in this movie. She sells every minute she's on screen. You actually feel for her. You actually feel her pain throughout the movie. You feel like you're going through this with her. And that was very cool to see. You know, she's not your typical horror cliche character. She actually does a good job in the movie. So does everyone else. Like, I don't remember the actors' names, and I'm not going to bother looking them up right now. But every single actor in this movie sells their performance, and you know, I'm glad they weren't like something like horny teenagers or anything like that, you know, stupid people. If I had to complain about something in the movie, it would only really be that there are some horror stereotypes in this movie. Like a few times throughout the movie, I was saying to myself, why is this person doing this? Why is that person going here? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you grab that? Why are you doing this? You know, it's stuff that I guess I kind of have to just admit that we're not going to not see that in horror movies, because you kind of need that stuff to move from one place to another. And in this movie's case, I feel like it did that stuff. Though it bothered me at first, overall, when I look back on it, it did do it pretty well. And again, for the most part, it was very effective in that way. In the end, guys, I loved this new Invisible Man. I had my doubts. I did not think this movie was going to be good from the trailers, but that just tells me that trailers do not mean anything. This is how you do a remake properly. You take something that's familiar and add your own ideas to it. Do your own thing to it to make it feel fresh and new. Because remakes that just copy and paste and do the exact same thing, almost in the exact same order all over again, they just get on my nerves so much. Now, there are remakes that do the same thing as the previous one that end up being very well. Like, for instance, the remake of Night of the Living Dead. For the most part, it does tell the same story. But at the same time, it does its own things and changes things around to make it feel fresh. Remakes like last year's The Lion King and Poltergeist and Psycho, those remakes just piss me off because they try to do new and different things, but overall, it's just the same thing all over again. And I'm so glad that this movie didn't do that, because this movie could have easily been the same story with some modern updates that would just be dated in a few years. But thankfully, this movie didn't do that. It's actually a smart, clever, mature horror movie. And I would definitely say The Invisible Man is a most definite Blu-ray purchase for me, and I would highly recommend this movie, especially to go see it in the theater. Like, if you're not too sure about seeing this movie in the theater, trust me, it's worth it. It's worth seeing this on the big screen with the loudest speakers. A lot of stuff is going to be effective if you go see it in theaters. So if you've seen The Invisible Man, let me know what you guys thought about it in the comment section. And what other horror movie would you like to see remade? In particularly the Universal Monster movies. Now that we finally have a good one that's not I, Frankenstein or The Mummy that came out a couple of years ago, if they were to do another Universal Monster movie, what would you guys want to see? I know for me, they've already remade The Wolfman, but I would like to see a more modern take on The Wolfman, kind of like in the style of this movie, Invisible Man. So that's my answer to The Wolfman. Whatever your thoughts on everything is, let me know in the comment section. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Look forward to a late review of Sonic the Hedgehog, hopefully coming this weekend, but we'll see, either this weekend or early next week. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching again. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, click right here, and I will see you guys next time.